Let's be real for a second. Do you ever feel like you're just adrift in a sea of digital noise? You're always busy, but you're not actually getting anywhere? Well, that's exactly why today we're diving deep into Dan Koe's The Art of Focus. It's this incredible framework for finding meaning and actually building the life you want, even when the world feels like it's designed to distract you. So before we can even talk about the solution, we've got to get really clear on the problem. And the book kicks off by diagnosing this feeling, this modern unease that I think so many of us can relate to.
I mean, does this question just hit home for you? That feeling of being totally overwhelmed, pulled in 100 different directions at once, and just not making any real progress on the things that actually matter to you? If that sounds familiar, you are definitely not alone. This is really framed as the central challenge of our time.
And it all starts right here, with this endless, nonstop barrage of notifications, emails, social media. It's like this constant, low-level hum of information that just never ever turns off, and it completely dulls our ability to think clearly. And then, on top of all that noise, you layer on all these expectations from society. The pressure to follow a specific path, to keep up with everyone else, to be productive in a way that just feels kind of hollow. We're told this is basically a one-way ticket to mediocrity. So what happens when you mix all that noise and all that pressure? You get this pervasive, gnawing sense of anxiety. It's that nagging feeling that you're constantly busy but never truly productive. You're always connected, but you never really feel fulfilled. Okay, so if that's the diagnosis, what's the cure? This is where we get to the absolute heart of the book. It's a completely new way of thinking about where you put your attention. And this is so key. It's a total redefinition of the word focus. We are not just talking about, blocking out a couple hours for deep work. No, this is so much bigger. Think of it more like a life philosophy. It's like having this wide-angle lens that lets you finally see the difference between what's truly meaningful and what's just empty, time-wasting distraction. The big metaphor here is a journey. The whole process of finding this true focus becomes a journey of self-discovery. It's all about carving out your own path, step by step, not just blindly following the one that everyone else is on.
But here's the best part. This isn't just some vague philosophical idea. This whole philosophy is built on a really practical, actionable framework. It doesn't just tell you what's wrong. It gives you a clear, structured solution for building a more focused life.
And that entire framework, it all rests on 3 core pillars. They're simple, they're super powerful, and, this is crucial, they all work together. So let's break them down.
All right, pillar number 1 is focus, but with a twist. You have to treat it like a muscle. It's not something you either have or you don't. It's a skill you build through conscious, daily practice. And the stronger that muscle gets, the more it lifts up every single other area of your life, from your work to your relationships to your own well-being.
Next up, pillar number 2, energy. The best way to think about this is like it's your mental fuel tank. It's made up of your attention, your intention, and your willpower. And here's the thing. Every single distraction is like a tiny leak in that tank. If you want to achieve anything big, you have to become a fierce protector of your mental energy. And the final pillar is experience. This one is all about being present. It's about getting out of your own head and actually engaging with the world right in front of you, because that's where the real learning happens. That's where real growth happens, and that's where you'll find your own unique path. So we have focus, energy, and experience. But why are these 3 so essential? Why does life so often feel like this uphill battle against chaos and disorder? Well, to answer that, we actually have to look at a fundamental concept from physics that explains this constant pull toward chaos in our lives. And that concept is entropy. It's a universal law that basically says that if you just leave things alone, they will naturally fall apart and descend into chaos. Think about your desk or your room. The only way to fight it is by actively, consciously investing energy to create and maintain order. Now here's where it gets really interesting. This exact same principle applies to our minds. It's a state called psychic entropy. That feeling of mental clutter, that stress, that anxiety, that is the mind's default state. It's what happens when we don't actively pour focused energy into creating our own mental clarity and order.
Think about it like a bridge or a road. If the city just stopped doing maintenance, it would eventually crumble into pieces, right? Well, our minds are no different. They require a constant, conscious investment of focus and energy to stop that natural slide into mental chaos.
Okay, so we get the why now. We're literally fighting a universal law of chaos. So let's get practical. How do we actually do it? Well, the final piece of the puzzle is a new mental toolkit, a set of really powerful principles that can guide you on this journey toward clarity.
Let's just touch on a few of these. Self-experimentation means you start treating your own life like a laboratory. You're the scientist trying to figure out what works for you, not for someone else. Radical acceptance is all about stopping that pointless fight with reality. You just accept what is so you can work with it. Then there's the shift from judgment to discernment, which is huge. It means you observe to understand instead of just slapping a label on everything. And finally, prioritizing creativity over simple productivity. This ensures you're not just spinning your wheels being busy, but that your work is actually making a real, meaningful impact. And this really gets to the heart of why all of this matters so much. There's a quote that just perfectly captures what's at stake here. The true pain lies not in the struggle for realization, but in the regret of failing to recognize your potential. Look, the work of finding focus can be tough, for sure, but it is nothing compared to the pain of looking back on your life with regret. So, when you boil it all down, it leaves us with one critical question. Your attention is the single most valuable and most limited resource you have. So the only question that really matters is this: where are you going to choose to invest it?